podcast, the Down to Earth Network, with your host, Sean Myrie. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Now, um, recent news. Recent news. Like I said this a couple of weeks ago about Canada, Mark Carney, and Donald Trump, right? And what Donald Trump was putting out was like, a bluff, right? And he basically was saying he's putting tariffs, some hardcore tariffs on Canada, right? He's going to make Canada basically pay. But recently, right, the US House votes against Trump's tariffs on Canada. That's the recent news. So everybody was saying, yeah, Mr. Trump, yo, he's gonna really give it to the Canadians. I was telling you, he's gonna hurt more the Americans than he's gonna hurt the Canadians, right? People are getting hungry, like, gonna afford the groceries. I'm hearing in America, starving, risk of jobs, people losing jobs. So the US House itself goes against the tariffs to Canada. I gotta read this. Like, this is something Trump don't want to really talk about because this is a loss for him, right? The officer, okay, let's see what's been going on. This is recent news. The U.S. House Representatives passed a resolution against President Donald Trump. So they're already going against the man. Bless up, OG Kicks, right? So the U.S. House of Representatives passed a resolution against President Donald Trump's tariffs on the Canadian goods, right? Delivering a stinging rebuke to the administration for launching a trade war on its northern border. So these people who are in the American government are starting to do like a little rebellion. They're not going with everything Trump's doing. So the House voted 219 to 211. It was still kind of close in favor of the resolution seeking to terminate the national emergency that Trump evoked in February 2005 to empower his tariffs on a range of imports from Canada. So, like I said, he can't really do all this. He's just talking a lot of the times. So he got a lot of people, right? You got a lot of people. 6 Republicans defied the White House and joined the Democrats in voting for the measure. So you got 6, right? 6 Republicans went with the Democrats. Damn. So it's like 6 traitors left the Republicans and they went with the Democrats so they could do this, right? Now, Canada, this is a win. I was telling people, like, there's all those MAGA people, all the MAGA supporters. I seen them come on here and they're talking King Trump and all the shit he was talking about with the 51st state. But now, the own government, 6 Republicans defied the White House and joined the Democrats, voting for the measure. Trump's emergency declaration that Canada's failure to address cross border fentanyl trafficking created an unusual and extraordinary threat to the U.S. national security. Under what underpins the 30% tariffs currently imposed on the range of Canadian goods that don't qualify for exemption under the Canada US Mexico Agreement, CUS, CUSMA, CUSMA. Heard of that? He wants to pull out of that shit. I heard he wants to pull out of that. Congress has the authority to review the presidential declaration of emergency. But even if the resolution is also approved by the simple majority in the Senate, Trump retains veto power to keep the emergency declaration and tariffs in place. So that's what he's still trying to fight that shit because he don't like this. 6 Republicans turned and went with the Democrats to get and now Canada's back. I was telling you, he can't do that. Even the whole House voted against him. However, well, not the whole House. He had like 211. The vote was, like what, 8 more or so. So, However, losing the House vote is politically symbolic blow to the president who has made tariffs the cornerstone economic policy of his second term. So he wants to do a lot, but these tariffs, what he was pushing hard on Canada, like I was saying, it wasn't really hurting Canada compared to America, right? So just as the votes was closing, Trump lashed out at the rebel Republicans. So he calls them the rebel Republicans. That's what I was saying earlier. The rebel Republicans in the social media posts. Any Republican in the House or Senate that votes against tariffs will seriously suffer the consequences come election time, and that includes primaries, Trump wrote. Listen how he sounds. Yo, let me read that again. This guy's a gangster. He says any Republican in the House or the Senate that votes against tariffs will seriously suffer the consequences come election time, and that includes primaries, Trump wrote. He said tariffs have given us economic and national security. No Republican should be responsible for destroying this privilege. This is funny, man. Trump has previously threatened to endorse the political rivals of Republican lawmakers who have refused to back his administration policies. Yo, he has so much wars he's fighting himself, man. Trump has previously threatened to endorse. Now, six Republicans defied Trump. Six of them, they defied Trump, right? Trump by supporting resolution. The six Republicans who voted in favor of the resolution were Don Bacon, Nebraska, Brian Fitzpatrick, Pennsylvania, Jeff Hurd, Colorado, Kev Kiley, California, Thomas Massey, Kentucky, and Dan Newhouse, Washington. Shit. Washington? Damn. Newhouse said his state economy is heavily entwined with Canada's, right? So Newhouse said that. Where's Newhouse? We go back to Newhouse. Newhouse, Washington. Oh shit. So hear that, what he said. Newhouse said from Washington, the economy is heavily entwined with Canada's. That's all I have to say. That man is saying that he's from Washington. Correct me if I'm wrong, where the president is. That's a message he's sending out there, what a lot of people don't hear, right? So he's a Republican who's the main Republican that represents Washington and saying that the economy is heavily entwined with Canada. Okay, that's right, bro. Why is that bad? They're going to. It's always happens. Biden's own turn on him, it happens. But listen, all I'm saying, six six of them who are from certain key states turned against him. So this is just a symbolic thing where more people are saying that I guess it's this whatever revolution because he calls them rebels. This is like a political revolution. What's going on? You got Republicans who are like not going with Donald Trump's policies, right? You're not going with Donald Trump's policies. What are you saying? Enter in the chat. Yeah, I rap sometimes. Yeah, I could do that too. But right now, Canada won. Canada did win this. Trump lost this fight, like it or not, because if he was trying to make Canada suffer with the tariffs, like what was the point of him even mentioning anything about tariffs, right? So the tariffs are dropped. The tariffs are dropped. There's a rapper named, he has a song called, I'll check that out. I'll probably check that out. But yeah, the tariffs are dropped, people. I remember all the MAGA people when I was talking about the stories, what was going on between Canada, Carney, and Donald Trump. I was saying Donald Trump likes to bully people. Donald Trump likes to like extort people, extortion tactics, like he was threatening to take over countries and shit like that. And he did show what he could do with Venezuela as an example. He had to show an example. So he was using that tactic to kind of think he could bully everybody. So he couldn't bully Canada fully. He tried, right? And then he was putting on these tariffs. And those tariffs, it didn't stick because, like the man was saying from Washington, right? The Republican, the economy intertwines with America. The only emergency here is the economy, one created by Donald Trump's tariffs, right? So that's a problem. Canada isn't a threat. Wait, what? Let me read this over. I want to read this straight because I remember he said Canada isn't a threat, but then he takes off they're taking off tariffs. He's thinking that, but not the majority's thinking that, saying Canada isn't a threat. Then he would still have the tariffs on. He's going to try to fight this to prove something. Guaranteed, he's going to try to fight this to prove something, right? Guaranteed. But yeah, the tariffs are dropped. A lot of it was six of them. Six Republicans went with the Democrats, and they over whatever you want to talk. The U.S. House votes against Trump's tariffs on Canada. So it's the own government coming together, united to vote against it. He made it look like, yo, no matter what, he got the power. Now this was posted. Let's see the time, February 11th, right? That's yesterday. Today's the 12th. So whatever House votes was going on in regards to the whole tariff stuff with Canada, people came together and said, nah, we're not going to do that. Why you think they came together and said, no, they're not going to do that? Especially for the MAGA people. All the MAGA people were saying, yeah, now, Mr. King, like, Trump, the king. Trump is the king, and yo, he's a great president and stuff. So when the tariffs he was doing, was it hurting Canadians or hurting Americans? I want to know, was it hurting Canadians or was it hurting Americans? I guaranteed it was hurting more Americans, because when he was doing all of this stuff, as he was doing all of this stuff, he was threatening Canadians basically traveling to America, right? So he was saying that they're gonna have to check basically your whole ID, not just your ID, like your social media, your bank account, and they may charge you more to travel to America. So that's not attractive. If they were gonna make people pay more just to go to America from Canada and then screen you more your bank account, I don't think people want that, like from Canada. That's why Las Vegas been going down in tourism, because a big percentage, I didn't know, is Canadians going to Las Vegas. I had no idea. I have to admit that was a surprise to me myself, that it's 70% of the business for Las Vegas came from Canadians. So all of this stuff, what Donald Trump was talking about, the 51st state, the tariffs, that made him look stupid, because obviously you had a couple Republicans who don't feel the same way. Six of them. It's not one, it's not two, it's not three, it's not four. It's actually six, a good amount. It's still a good amount, enough to stop the tariffs, right? The U.S. House of Representatives passed a resolution against President Donald Trump, tariffs on Canadian goods, delivering a stinging rebuke of the administration for launching a trade war on its northern neighbor. You hear that? So it was 219 to 211, like a basketball game, for example. So it's 200 voted and 19. And then the people who voted against it, 211. That's still almost not too far apart. It was like, that was really a fight. So Trump really was trying to put that through. He still had 211, right? To try to do that, but they terminated that. Convicted Trump is a madman. You think, yeah. Trump, he's doing all types of stuff. He's screwing up the American economy. by doing this tariff stuff. And I think a lot of Americans don't know what this tariff stuff is. I'm hearing farmers are like, their things are getting screwed up, their business is getting screwed up. There's a lot of different industries that been getting screwed up from Trump, what he's talking. You get what I'm saying? So the tariffs is good that they're off for Americans. It's good. That's why they voted for this shit to stop, because it's good for Americans for the tariffs to be lifted off of Canada. I don't. What is Trump thinking? Really serious. Like, if you're American, you must know your neighbor. One of your neighbors you got to be good with. Mexico, you already have a bad relationship with. America has a bad relationship with Mexico. Now, your other neighbor is northern neighbor, Canada. Why would you want bad relationships with both sides? These people put it through for a reason. They put it through because they think Donald Trump is he's like, this is too much what he's doing and shit. This man's a madman. They're basically saying he's probably crazy. We got to stop this. Even the Republicans came together with the Democrats because they're saying, no, this is some crazy shit this guy's doing. He wants to play with the money like Monopoly, and he's trying to put tariffs on everyone in the world. You get what I'm saying? Putting tariffs on everybody in the world. That's a big job. So that's why they dropped the first one. This is a message. It's more than just this is being reported and people are going to know about this. This is for his ego, people, for Trump's ego. Because if Canada did win this, what is he going to respond with? He's still going to want to fight? Like, he's still going to want to, what you say, appeal to this, right? Knowing that 6 Republicans, he's calling them rebels. He's calling the Republicans who voted for this rebels, like they're some criminals. And he's threatening them too. And it's on social media. Like, the way how he's talking is like a threat. Really? Lashed out at the rebel Republicans. This is what he said. Just as the votes was closing, Trump lashed out at the rebel Republicans in social media posts. Any Republicans in the House or the Senate that votes against tariffs will seriously suffer the consequences. That's what he's saying. Come election time. And that includes primaries, Trump wrote. So he's mad. All those 6 people are going to be in the spotlight. All those 6 people are going to be in the spotlight. He's going to be probably pointing them out, targeting them. This guy doesn't chill one bit. But Canada won. Canada won. Canada bet him in this whole trade war thing, economics, because Carney knows the money. The Prime Minister of Canada knows money, right? He was dealing with all the money for Canada before he was a prime minister, right? Doing all the financing, whatever you want to call it. He knows about money. So Trump is facing not a normal prime minister. It's like they had to put Carney, I'm going to tell you, the Canadian prime minister you see there was put there. And then he was reelected again, but he was put there after the prime minister before, right? Trudeau, he stepped down. And when he stepped down, this guy to me was put there to handle Donald Trump. That's what I'm telling you. If all you Americans don't know, I'm giving you the info. They put Carney there to deal. It's like a war for real, to go against Donald Trump because they know what Donald Trump was up to from even before when he was the president. Because remember, Trudeau, the prime minister, he had dealings with Donald Trump. The old prime minister knows about Donald Trump. They had back and forths too. So now Carney, economic genius, or if you want to call it, they had to put him out there like the Terminator against Donald Trump. And look, Donald Trump lost. He's making him look stupid in the world. Like it or not, people could talk about all this shit, what Donald Trump's doing. People who are MAGA supporters could talk anything. But when you look it up, who's winning? Who's winning, Donald Trump or Carney? Carney done a deal with China. He was threatening Canada because Carney was doing a deal with China. Really, check that out. He was threatening Canada. He threatened Canada like I don't know how much times. First, 51st state. He's saying 51st state, you guys should join us. And then what else he was saying? Then he's saying, yo, you need us to defend you guys. So you should join the Yellow Dome, whatever the Golden Dome, right? With Greenland. We need you guys, right? So Canada says no. Then Canada does a deal with China, and he's saying he doesn't like that shit. He wants to control everywhere. This man's a crazy, mad man. Now I have to look on it. He knows what he's doing, but he's using his power to do whatever he wants. He feels he could do whatever he wants. So they blocked it. 6 Republicans are looked on as rebels now. He's talking about them like they're criminals. And all this mix up with this Epstein shit, what's going on. Now, this guy's, that's why I said every day is an episode with this guy. I'm saying every day is an episode with this guy. But Carney, right? Carney outsmart him. Outsmart Donald Trump. 100%. Outsmarting Donald Trump. Making Donald Trump look like a damn fool. Right? 6 Republicans. This is just the beginning. Now, this is what people may say. Is this the beginning of a civil war within America? Because what happened is the Democrats got the Republicans, a good amount of Republicans, to join them. So what's going on? Right? Something is cooking. Tariffs, significant tax, says Nebraska Republican. Congress needs to be able to debate on tariffs, said Bacon, one of the Republicans who rebelled against the party leadership in social media posts. Tariffs have been a net negative for the economy and are a significant tax that American consumers, manufacturers, and farms are paying. So that's why the farms are suffering. Now I understand why the farms are suffering. The manufacturers, people are making products, they're suffering. Yeah, that's what's going on in America right now. That's bad. That's bad. Yo, they got to make a movie about Donald Trump after this for sure. They're going to make a lot of movies about Donald Trump. He's going to have a lot of different versions, especially if he passes away. He's like turning 80 this year. Trump threatens to block opening of new bridge. Even this shit he's doing, like he's doing all types of stuff. What is this? Even like the bridge from Canada, he wants to block it, Windsor to Detroit. This guy's just a warmonger or some shit like that, right? Scott Bissett warns Carney stop virtual. Okay, let's see this now. So Canada won right now. There is a revolution against Trump, 100%. There is a revolution against Trump. What's going on in America? This clearly shows this is the beginning of something. So, what's next? Democrats got Republicans with them. They're like spies, like the undercover agents that, yes, I'm a Republican, but this guy, I don't like him. And I'll work with you, Democrat, just to block this man because he's a madman. We cannot stop it because this is what Newhouse said. Newhouse said the state economy is heavily entwined with Canada's. That's Washington. If you don't know, that's Washington. So he's saying the state economy is entwined with Canada. The main state where the president is entwined. What does that mean? We're together. You fool. They're basically saying, Donald Trump, you damn fool. You cannot put tariffs on Canada because the lumber, what they need to build, and minerals and certain shit from Canada is very important to America. So that's why you got 6 Republicans turning on and going with the Democrats, joining up. Carney won. Carney won, man. Canada won in this. A lot of Americans, if you don't know politics or you don't want to hear this, but it's facts. The man been bullying Canada. Trump's been bullying Canada for the last couple of months, saying the 51st state and shit that he wants to take. Canada should join them. And then he was saying how, yo, you shouldn't be talking to China and shit like that. And then look what happens. He loses this tariff stuff. So this is just the beginning. Are more people going to vote against anything that he has done, like tariffs on other countries? That's just Canada. Are they going to continue with the other countries? Is this the beginning of a revolution of the Republicans joining forces more with the Democrats? Is that what happening? Is this maybe like, it might be too controversial or conspiracy theories? Is this a takeover? Because think of it, he called them rebels. So is this a takeover preview? What might happen down the line? Because this man's doing all type of crazy shit. He's doing all types of crazy shit in with America, using the system. A billionaire, crazy, narcissistic, whatever man, old guy, 80. He wants to go out with a bang. That's what he feels. He wants to go out with a bang, right? 6 Republicans. This should be the biggest news. What's the biggest news right now? I guarantee, like I said, there's distractions out there, right? This is a victory and a loss. It's a victory for Canada. It's a loss for, and it's a victory for America too. But it's a loss for Donald Trump. So this thing, tariffs coming off, is a victory for America, both sides, Canada, because really America needed it. The manufacturers, the farmers, people are losing their jobs or stuff like that. Their groceries are more high, I'm hearing too. So him doing all of this stuff for the last couple, whatever months or so, never helped America. It was not helping America. I was telling people, it wasn't helping America, man. So what now? Trump, all the other places where he put the tariffs on, are we going to see the same thing? Do you think the other countries, the American Democrats and Republicans, are going to join up once again and they're going to not vote in the House? Is that going to happen? Are they going to not vote for the other countries too? Are they going to go back to the House and stop, do the? It said, like, this is what happened. If you guys don't know about the tariff stuff, right? I'm educating anybody who doesn't know about the tariff stuff and what happened in America in regarding it to go through, to fully go through. Right now is what, February 12th, 2006. So this what happened. The House voted 219 to 211 in favor of a resolution seeking to terminate the national emergency that Trump invoked in February 2005 to empower his tariffs on a range of imports from Canada. So he put that through, right? 6 Republicans defied the White House and joined the Democrats in voting for the measure. So you see what happened there? Trump's emergency declaration that Canada's failure to address, this is his excuse why he's doing all this too, right? Why he was doing all of this. Trump's emergency declaration that Canada's failure to address cross border fentanyl trafficking created an unusual and extraordinary threat to the U.S. national security. So he blamed Canada for the fentanyl, the drugs, and underpins the 35% tariffs currently imposed on the range of Canadian goods that don't qualify for exemption under the Canada US Mexico Agreement, CUSMA. The Congress has authority to review the presidential declaration of emergencies, but even if the resolution is also approved by the simple majority in the Senate, Trump retains veto power to keep the emergency declaration and the tariffs in place. However, losing the House vote is a politically symbolic blow to the president who has made tariffs the cornerstone economic policy of his second term. So he's made the tariffs his main theme for his term now. And it's money, extortion he's trying, or whatever shit he's doing. It's economic, so it's the money. He's saying he came back for the money. That's what he's doing. He's coming for the money. And now you're not hearing anything about Venezuela. He got all the oil right there, right? Gangster president, right? You don't hear about the president of Venezuela, no trial. You're just hearing about Epstein files, all right? Think of it. Kidnapped the president of Venezuela, got the man's wife too, right? Parade them through New York. If you didn't see that video, parade them all through New York, right? Open up, made people see them, and then you don't hear about them. You notice? You don't hear about them. He went to Venezuela. Just think of it. And took out a government, Mr. Trump. So that's the message he was putting out to the world that, yo, I'm going to take over Greenland. He was getting on a hype, right? And before he was talking about Canada should be the 51st state. So this is in his dream that, yo, imagine Canada joined America, right? All these places was doing exactly what he wants to do, right? That's what he thinks. So now he has the oil. He's thinking he's going to use the oil of Venezuela to help America. He said it. Don't forget, people. You could go back. I have episodes. He's saying he went for the American people, not himself. He went to Venezuela for the American people. And people, please subscribe. Please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. So Canada has won, right? Carney, he put it. He's an intelligent leader in the space of politics. He hustled um, Trump. Now Trump is mad, very mad. What's next? What's next? What's next? I don't know, but he's gonna do some crazy shit. He's up to some crazy stuff. If you're American, you should be scared. This is like a fucking movie. This guy has the power to press that red button. Imagine. This is really like The Simpsons. That's why The Simpsons has that theme now, I understand. Homer Simpson, right? You know who Homer Simpson is. And he controls a nuclear plant. They put him in charge of a nuclear plant. That's symbolic of the town. A man like, what's his name? Simpson. Homer Simpson. That's what Trump is. That's why they put him in that cartoon. But in that cartoon, it doesn't end good, right? In that cartoon, it doesn't end good. I'm hearing. The conspiracy theories have him on the elevator and he gets taken out that way. I'm just saying. That's how Homer Simpson in control of a nuclear plant, Donald Trump in control of America. Control of America. Not good. It's very bad, people. Very bad. This is just the beginning. Didn't you see how he lost? He lost, right? To Carney. And he was talking all that smack, talking all this stuff, and he lost to Carney. That's what it is. Facts. He's saying he's putting on these tariffs, threatening Canada. Oh, we're going to hurt you by putting these tariffs on. This is not a good thing for you. You should just listen up, do it my way. But then 6 Republicans with a whole bunch of Democrats vote against the shit. They say they're shutting it down. No way we are putting on no tariffs on Canada. So what's next? It's messy in Washington, man. It's messy right now. You got these Epstein files going on, right? And then you got this with the tariffs. The first one he lost by Canada, and he still wants to do tariffs to the rest of the world. He still wants to do tariffs to the rest of the world, Donald Trump. What do you guys think of this? And please subscribe, people. Subscribe. What do you guys think of this? Because this is the news recently. The man's angry. He said Canada isn't a threat. The only emergency here is the economic one created by Donald Trump. Who says this? No. He called the tariffs unnecessary and harmful taxes on American people. Okay. So this guy who's talking, Gregory Meeks, he's talking. Gregory Meeks, Canada isn't a threat. Canada is our friend. Hear this, what he's saying. Now, I'm going to bring it back to the beginning. The only emergency here is the economic one created by Donald Trump's terrorists, Meeks said from the House floor. Okay, I want to get this good because this is one of them. Canada isn't a threat. Canada is our friend. Canada is our ally. He called the tariffs unnecessary and harmful taxes on American people. Republican Rep. Brian Mast of Florida criticized the Democrats for putting forward a resolution that he says ignores the reality of fentanyl crisis and Canada's role in it. So they're blaming Canada for America's fentanyl crisis. So they're saying that the fentanyl is coming from Canada and they're blaming Canada for it. Okay. Apparently, they don't support tariffing a country that acknowledges they have a drug trafficking crisis, but they weren't doing anything to fix it, Massey said. So they're getting hot up in there, right? Gregory Meeks, a Democratic member of the House of Representatives, is behind the resolution to terminate the emergency declaration Trump used to impose tariffs on the wide range of imported goods from Canada. He's shown in the file photo. You see him, black man, right? The debate coincided with the release of a nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office Economic and Budgetary Outlook report, which projects that the U.S. business will absorb 30% of the increased costs of imports due to the tariffs by reducing their profit margins and pass on the remaining 70% to the consumers through their higher prices. Oh, that don't sound good for America. Although the resolution had been in the works since March of last year, Wednesday was the first time the House had the opportunity to vote on it, as it was repeatedly blocked by Republicans. So that must be good, actually. That was actually good. So they're trying to work out something, the Democrats, right, to make it better, right? But it was blocked by the Republicans. Blocking an effort finally collapsed on Tuesday. See what's going on? Republican Speaker of the House Mike Johnson had tried to stop the vote through a procedural move that would have allowed him to bar debate on the tariffs imposed through the president's emergency declaration through the end of July. The Republicans sided with the Democrats representatives in the narrowly divided House to vote down the rule 217 to 214, clearing the way for Wednesday's vote the tariffs against Canada. That was Wednesday, but now it's different. That number now, I think it's 219 to 211. They won. It's like a game, like basketball. This is like basketball, right? So he lost, Donald Trump. You see, and what people are saying, this is like a war. Like this is an economic war. A lot of people who are Republicans turned on Trump. That's what Donald Trump is saying. He's saying, "Yo, they turned on me. You guys are rebels. How is he going to punish them?" He threatened them. He basically did say what he's going to do. He said he did say what he's going to do. If you guys don't know, he basically threatened the Republicans that turned on him. He said, "Yo, basically, you're going to lose your job." That's what he's saying. You're going to lose your position come next election. I don't know when the next election is going to happen, what he's talking about, but now he's like he lost. He's going back to his cave or whatever, Donald Trump. It's like he lost. He's hurt. You get what I'm saying? Really hurt that he lost this battle to Carney and Canada. It's good for America, but what's hurting him is Canada got to deal with China, the second biggest economy. So because Canada got to deal with China, he was saying it was not good. Like this man is like a backstabber because 1 minute he's trying to talk good with China for the oil of Venezuela. And then he's telling Canada that you can't have a deal with China because that's not good for the Canadian economy. You listen to that? So it's good for him to sell oil to China, right, as American president, but Canada can't get 50,000 Chinese vehicles because he doesn't like it. right? So even food, what people are eating in America, I mean in Canada, imported from America. He wanted to put a tax, some type of shit that's gonna make it more higher priced for us. But guess what happened? No one was really buying that shit as much because they were Canadians were putting labels in the grocery stores on certain products. So Canadians would only buy, or they would buy American products, but mainly focus on buying Canadian. That's what's been going on. So a lot of people, instead of buying American maple syrup, just say for example, maple syrup, they're gonna buy Canadian maple syrup. Instead of buying American chips, they're gonna buy Canadian chips. Instead of buying American meat, they're gonna buy meat from somewhere else, right? And they could do it because most of American products is big commercial products in the WalMarts in Canada, and it mostly would be like chips, pop, uh, what's called junk food and shit like that. So that's the stuff what may go high in price sometimes. But you could go to the Dollar Tree and still get cheap what's called stuff for $1 compared to even a Canadian store sometimes. So there's all types of things that are going on what people don't know. And people, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. So what do you think about it? Where's the MAGA people? Where's all the MAGA people I usually see coming up on here? Nothing to say because Trump lost, man. Trump lost. He lost the carney. And it's when I'm reading it, it's other politicians in America going against Trump. Shit. This is still new news. It's going over people's head because all the stuff was going on. You got the ICE going on in America. You got the Epstein stuff. Yo, people who's watching, the Epstein stuff right now is a big tool for distractions in all types of ways. Because how much of you guys know, maybe it's news, that the Canadian government basically beat the American government with this economic war, right? It got the Republicans and the Democrats coming against Donald Trump. What would they expect anything else from somebody like yeah, 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 yeah. Can't get it right. You're right. You can't get it right, man. You can't get it right because Donald Trump just lost an economic fight. He wanted to put tariffs on Canada, thinking it's going to hurt Canada, but it only hurt America. So, what is next? What other countries Donald Trump has tariffs on that's going to face the same thing? Like, more what? Republicans are going to jump ship? They're going to jump ship? Then what is he going to have if all the Republicans start jumping ship? So, what other countries does he have? Because he just lost. I don't even have to read no more of this, right? A lot of the people turned on their party, if you want to call it that, or is it emergency? Is it emergency, or did they just they say this guy's crazy, man? We're not gonna vote for this. They say it's intertwined. You hear that, people? America's economy is intertwined with Canada. It's intertwined. How much of you guys know that? You think it's all America? That's why I said this before. And this is in conspiracy and getting deep down to earth. That Canada and America is one, really. That's what he's telling you and joking with this 51st state. I have episodes talking about what, like, you think America and Canada is different? It's all one system. That's why they have the New World Order talking. Ray, do you drop out? I don't know, but you got to get it right. You probably dropped out some type of grade. Knock you out, for example, for 30 minutes, right? 30 minutes, no talk. So Canada and America is really together. That's what I'm going to break it down to you. Really together. And in the last 2 months, symbolic messages were out in the media with politicians where people are just confused by the Epstein files. Before the Economic Forum, Mr. Carney brought up more than one time the New World Order. All right. So conspiracy theories before used to look crazy. What are you talking about? Some people didn't believe it, whatever. that talk about the New World Order. But you know what? It's for real. Because even on this platform, after I'm finished, and if I keep talking about the New World Order, they will mark it and put what the definition is. So that shows you that's an algorithm that's sensitive to talk about. But Mr. Carney had mentioned it in a conference in China when he was talking to the Chinese government, basically saying what they got to, how they got to work together. And then later on, Carney, right, was at that World Economic Forum where Trump was at. The time when Trump was there and he was talking about Greenland and he was talking about other stuff, right? So it's all together. And he said the New World Order. It wasn't Trump what said the New World Order. It was Carney. Mark Carney said the New World Order, how everybody has to come together and stuff like that. You could find it out. I could go look that up right now. So that's why I believe this all uh, went away. The Republicans are saying that the American economy is intertwined with Canada. The Republicans are saying that. What does that mean? They cannot do what Trump is saying to do. They cannot do it. He's in a fantasy land, right? They cannot do what Trump is saying to do. He's in a big fantasy land, people. Can't listen to him, right? Not good. Who's next? Because there's other countries he put tariffs on. I'm going to tell you that. He put tariffs on China, right? I don't know if he took those off. He put tariffs on every country you could think of. Mr. Donald Trump put tariffs on. Every country you could think of, he put tariffs on. So is it going to help? I remember China was saying, yo, it's going to hurt you guys with some electronics if you put some tariffs up on there. Like, it will hurt. But he's on a power move, a power trip to take over shit. I don't know if you guys don't know about Cuba. I'm hearing this is another thing. What's going on? Because I'm talking. They're saying Cuba is starving. People in Cuba are starving because there's probably sanctions from America, but he stopped the oil from going there. He stopped all types of operation from Venezuela, what was going there, off. So the people are suffering. Trump over you, man. What are you doing for America? Ascending, what are you saying? But yeah, right now he's losing. He's losing. He's all over the place. And he's doing confusion. He's losing and doing confusion. He lost that battle with Canada. Your own government, people in the government, is not rocking with it. That's facts. The own people in the government is not rocking with it. You got a message. Six Republicans. That's a good amount. Voted or whatever in the House against this whole tariff shit, what he was trying to do with Canada, and it's not working, people. So what, you're gonna follow this guy, right? Alberta is trying to leave Canada and join America. That ain't happening. Now, people brought up recently it should be treason. Yes, they're trying to, a little group, and the natives of the land, because they don't have no rights, that group, right? They were talking for a while. People was, they were believing in the hype, but they don't have no rights to Alberta compared to the indigenous or the native people of that place. They called them out. They said, what are you doing? You don't have, you could just do what you want. And it's the white people who think, oh, I could break off and not talk to the natives of the land, the natives who are really still there. There's a lot of natives in Alberta, right? So that's treason. If it was America, right, they would lock you up. No different. That group was trying to break from Canada, what you're saying, they should be locked up for treason. You are saying that Donald Trump is losing. I hope yeah, he's losing. Kathy Thompson, he's losing. Donald Trump, you're right. That's what we call him. Donald Trump is losing, man. Directly, he's losing, and he's losing even now with the Epstein representation. right? They say there's no proof of him with that, but he got some Pam Bondi making him look bad right now. So his stock is going down. His stock is going down. The treason is in their loss. Well, right now, those people who want to say they're breaking out from Canada and they're really serious, unless it's a joke, they should be locked up. They should be locked up for saying uh, they want to leave Canada and shit like that. Right? You need a referendum or something like that. So we could say it's influence from America what's trying to like overthrow Canada. You see what I'm saying? Because that's why he said 51st state. That's why he's playing with the 51st state, Donald Trump. Think of it. He's probably saying, "Oh, there's people in Canada that's not really, happy with their own government. So let's try to, influence a takeover." But it's really screwing up America right now. Worry about in America with the social unrest, which you're good at making it quiet, right? Worry about the people who are angry about the ICE or the government agencies doing aggressive stuff to people in public. Worry about, cleaning up some of the cities that have high crime rates and shit like that. Maybe that's what he's doing with the ICE. Maybe that's what he's going to do with the ICE. But, anyways, he's made that quiet. And now it's the Epstein mess. It's a soap opera, right? The people protesting are a small fringe group. I could believe that too. I could believe that too, that it's a small fringe group. But the internet can make it seem big, right? Social media can make small stuff seem very big, like Black Lives Matter. Remember Black Lives Matter? You guys remember Black Lives Matter? Same thing. What do you find out about Black Lives Matter? Fraud, right? So there's all this stuff with Minnesota, the fraud. It started with that. No, actually, it started first with Donald Trump deporting a lot of the Mexicans and the illegals from California and putting them in like cages. They're saying and unsavory places, and then that quiet down, and then now Minnesota deporting a lot of Somalis or locking some of them up. Then you hearing that he's stopping the operation and he's going to do something else. So, right? He's doing all types of stuff. He's doing all types of stuff, but he lost against Canada. And I'm waiting to hear his response. And people, bring up the likes. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Right? It's the Down to Earth Network. Please like. But yeah, Obama's cages, yeah, that could be him too. But yo, they're saying that about Trump, right? From before. And like I said, this is like a revenge. This is revenge. So all these tariffs, it's good it's off from Canada. It's going to help Americans. These tariffs coming off will help Americans because then Canadians will start to, if they had a business or something in America, maybe they'll keep it and shit like that. Or hopefully, even with the whole visiting stuff, he changes that. That if Canadians travel to America, they don't really have to go through all types of strict whatever regulations and stuff like that. But I don't think that's gonna change though. But yeah, he lost, and he doesn't like losing. Mr. Trump lost and does not like losing, right? He don't like losing. But these Epstein stuff is the biggest, I'm telling you, is such a big distraction. And in a way, he likes it right now because he doesn't want to, he doesn't want this to be the top story that Canada won. He doesn't want, does he want this to be the top story that 3 Republicans voted against his whole shit? Does he? Right? Get those likes up. Yep. Much respect, man. Get the likes up. Please subscribe. Worry about empty Trump trip where you will spend the eternity. Yeah, people are talking about God too. Yeah, people, but some people don't believe in God. I'm gonna be straight up, not biased, right? Some people may not believe in God, but Trump plans to make a special day dedicated to God in May too. I heard, right? He wants to do some type of Christian day in May. That's what he plans to do. He's doing a lot. I think he's thinking his time's going to be up soon, right? He's about 80. We don't know his health. I'm hearing he's shitting himself too. Honestly, I heard that he's shitting himself. Sometimes when they're in certain meetings, there's been situations which he has allegedly, and they're like, it smells. I have to laugh. Like, I heard that shit. I don't know if that's for real, right? Is that for real? Because there's a picture of him sitting. I think it's a famous one, right? They're showing, and the people's face. If you really look at the face clear, it looks like they're like closing up their nose and shit. So, yeah, man, he's turning 80 years old. So he's an old man. He's an old man, right? He always has something new to say, something more to do. I don't want to see what? DJT movie. What do you mean? Let me know what you're saying, man. Beth love. But yeah, Donald Trump lost to Carney. Carney's an intelligent person. You know who Donald Trump is. A businessman, entrepreneur, actor, social media light. But you guys know who Carney is? You guys know who this man is? I don't know if I have his real picture, but I doubt you know who this guy is, but I got it in the face off, right? Got it in the face off. Mark Carney, man. And he even worked with England, right? For their money. He knows money. That's why Donald Trump lost. You guys know who Donald Trump is, but you don't know who Mark Carney is. This is the guy who basically outsmart Trump. He's very educated. I don't even want to read all the stuff he does, but very educated. Mark Joseph Carney, born March 16th, 1965, a Canadian politician, economist who has served as the 24th Prime Minister of Canada since 2025. He has also been the leader of the Liberal Party and member of Parliament for Nippon since 2005. He previously was governor of the Bank of Canada. See, that's where it comes from. Now, this is what I'm telling you who Trump is dealing with, who they put in place. They put this man in place. He previously was the governor of the Bank of Canada from 2008 to 2013 and the governor of the Bank of England from 2013 to 2020. Let me read that back again for you people. If you don't, the governor of the Bank of Canada and the governor of the Bank of England, I didn't even know that, from 2013 to 20. So two countries. This guy is the governor of the bank. That means the money. This man, right? His profession is money. Carney was born in Fort Smith, Northwest Territories, and raised in Edmonton, Alberta, oil place. He graduated with a bachelor's degree in economics. Yes, economics, right? Harvard University. So he went to America. He was educated in America, right? In 1987 and earned his master's degree in 1993, a doctorate in 1995 from the University of Oxford. Sound like that's even in England. Both in economics, and Carney worked for the Goldman Sachs. I didn't know that. Goldman Sachs is big. Before joining the Bank of Canada in 2003. As a deputy governor in 2004, he joined the Department of Finance of Canada as the senior associate deputy minister. Carney served as the eighth governor of the Bank of Canada from 2008 to 2013. As a governor, he oversaw Canadian monetary policy during the 2008 global financial crisis. He was appointed as the second chair in the Financial Stability Board in 2011, serving two terms until 2018. After his term as a governor of the Bank of Canada, Carney was appointed as the 120th governor of the Bank of England. becoming the first non-British citizen to be appointed to the role. He served from 2013 to 2020, leading the central bank's responses to the Brexit and the early phase of COVID-19 pandemic. See, when I'm telling you his resume, I don't know why they put COVID-19 pandemic. So he's part of some shit. Following this governorship, Carney held several roles in private and public sectors. He was a chair of Bloomberg, I heard of that LP, vice chair of Brookfield Assets Management and a spinoff of the Brookfield Corporation, and a co-chair of the World Bank Private Sector Investment Lab. From 2020, Carney was the United Nations Secretary General Special Envoy on the Climate Action. See, he knows about the climate. That's why China likes him. Climate action and finance. Carney was also an informal advisor to the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at the start of COVID-19 pandemic. Before returning to the private sector in 2024, he was appointed chair of the Liberal Party's Task Force on Economic Growth in January 2025 after Trudeau announced his resignation amid a political crisis. Carney entered the Liberal Party leadership election, winning landslide victory that March after he became the party leader. Carney was appointed prime minister, becoming the first prime minister in Canadian history never to have held an elected office. Carney then advised the governor general to dissolve the parliament and trigger a federal election. He led the Liberals to a minority government, overturning early poor opinion polling to win the party's fourth consecutive mandate since 2015, and was elected the first time to the House of Commons in the riding of Nepean. So this guy took over because he was given it. You see, he was given everything. He was put there to deal with Donald Trump. That's what I'm basically coming to. He was put there to deal with Donald Trump. You know, Donald Trump was there and he's the money man. Donald Trump is a businessman, right? Donald Trump, the thing what they're charging Donald Trump with before is his taxes. He didn't want to show his taxes and stuff. He wanted to hide that from the public. For some reason, Donald Trump was hiding things, right? He was hiding his tax. That's what people were accusing him of. Remember that. You're accusing him of that. So guess what? The money man prime minister is in charge of Canada. Trump has not dropped any tariffs. Yeah, the government has dropped it. You got to get updated, Jim Baroni. The government has dropped the Republicans with the Democrats in the House. They came to a vote and they won, obligated to share the taxes with the public. So they won. That's what happened. I said it earlier before you came on. That's the news. And people, please like, and subscribe, people, to the Down to Earth Network. What Trump can veto, so it doesn't matter. So they said he could veto it. But the whole point is now 6 people who are Republicans showed their faces saying, this looks bad, right? It's like traitors. He's saying they're rebels. Trump can veto that so nothing will change. Then it's just going to make Americans suffer because farmers are suffering, business manufacturers are suffering. So it's not hurting Canada. That's why I'm going to tell you right now, 100%. The tariffs is not hurting Canada. It's not, right? It's not hurting Canada. No one is feeling anything from Trump's tariffs. It's just hurting America now. That's what's going on, because unless people don't live in Las Vegas, unless people don't work in Las Vegas and in Florida too, they're feeling it. Tours for Florida is big. A big majority of the tourists are snowbirds from Canada, have places there. And then Las Vegas, a big percentage of them, people, 70%, right? And I could look it up right now, are Canadians for Las Vegas. So if a lot of them stop going, what happens? What happens if a lot of them stop going, which a lot of Canadians have stopped going? to Las Vegas. So it's like a nightmare. I heard from somebody who's from there, was talking only the strip. That is kind of bad, and they're gonna get the Olympics soon. People, please like, subscribe. I'm hearing that they're gonna get the Olympics what in 2 years, 2028. And this guy from America who was on here was saying the strip is the only place, and it's kind of getting worse in Las Vegas. Trump just signed the Farmers Bridge Assistant Bailout Program, 12 billion for farmers. That's good. Are you a farmer? I think you said you're a farmer, Jimmy. I'm gonna call you Jim, right? I think you said you were a farmer. So if he done that, he has to do something. Not saying Trump ain't doing anything. He's taking that money from Venezuela and wherever he's doing. He's a money man. He knows about money. Only people, like, there's some people who might be smart in reading, and there's some people who are more smart in math, and they're smart in certain skills. Trump is smart with probably the money, right? He's a businessman. So he makes moves, even if he loses sometimes. It's like a gamble, right? He may lose. All businessmen lose. So he is doing what he wants to do with the money, what he's playing with America. So he took whatever money he could get and give the farmers, because the farmers are the people who are supporting him a lot. Those people who live in those areas, they support him a lot. The reason no one's going to Vegas is because it's way too expensive. Yes, you just said it. I'm going to hold you to that. Yes. The reason no one's going to Vegas is because it's too expensive. Okay. The Americans is too expensive for, but the Canadians, it's the ones with the money. It's the ones with the money. I'm telling you, Jim. The ones with the money from Canada go to Las Vegas and they spend like crazy, right? So when they stop, it hurts. They said 70% is from Canada, 30% is probably Americans and other people. So, yes, if the 30% try to go, and it will make them not want to go because it's too expensive. But people coming from Canada, they don't give a damn. They're gonna spend an arm and a leg just to go to Las Vegas. I heard the stories. There's people who spend over $10,000 and they don't have no big job. Some of them, like, I'm not saying they're rich, like they will spend thousands of dollars, save it up for even a year or so just to go to Las Vegas, and they'll drink the hell out. They'll pay for the best hotels. They're just going to buy anything for that week, 2 weeks. That's what they do. So imagine you're getting even 20,000 Canadians visiting Las Vegas. I'm just telling you, they do go there. You're getting more than 20,000 Canadians. I'm just saying. They go there and they spend a lot of money. They're not cheap. There is rich Canadians. I'm not one of them, but there's rich Canadians, people who have a lot of money, right? Remember, there's different groups of Canadians here who've been here for a while, right? So you're gonna get some people who have Indian background but they're Canadian. You're gonna get some people who are from China, Chinese background, I mean, but they're Canadian, right? You're gonna get people from different backgrounds, but they're Canadian who have certain positions. You get what I mean? Educated, doctors, lawyers, maybe even politicians, because you don't know who's a politician in Canada compared to America. I'm going to tell you that. There's a lot of people who are politicians running some form of government in Canada. They don't stand out like Americans. So those are the people who are like able to travel. They could travel. They could go to Las Vegas. They could go to a Florida. Or the people who are older, people who have like business, right? Family business. They could afford that to go to Las Vegas and stuff like that. Go have a house in Florida. They have like a house in Florida also, right? It's a tourist place. It's a big tourist place because remember, Canada is cold. Canada is a cold place, so people want to leave. Farming is the most crucial thing we need to survive. It's amazing to think that they would need a bailout when they depend on them so much. Yeah, they depend. Guarantee America depends on the farms. And people, please like, subscribe, everything, all that good stuff. I would think America really depends on the farms, right? But Is anybody really talking about what Trump is doing? Because listen, people, it's not that just Canada with the tariffs. It's the whole world he's doing. It's the whole world Mr. Trump is doing. Mr. Trump has put tariffs on a whole bunch of countries. I could put the list on what he's done. American tariffs on all countries. And what did they do to him? Like, doesn't America have friends? Is he trying to make it that America doesn't have friends? I swear America used to be known, like, unless it's just Hollywood, that people love America. Let's be straight up. People all around from even other countries, the unless it's a stereotype, they might say hate and the shit with the Hollywood, but a lot of people actually want to go to America from all around the world. It's like, the American dream. That's why you have different type of people in America, right? So him doing all of this shit against all certain countries, it's like a beef. So tariff percentage. Okay, I'm just going to say the names of some of them. Afghanistan, 15%. Algeria, 30%. Angola, 15%. Bangladesh, 20. Bolivia, 15. Bosnia, 30. Botswana, 15. Well, let me see the big countries. Canada, 35% for goods outside USMCA. Everybody's mostly 15, I could tell you. 40, I don't know why Laos is 40. Kazakhstan, 25. Libya, 30%. Libya's 30%. Let's see the big countries. So Switzerland, 39. Holy shit, they're punishing them. Sri Lanka, 20, right? Everybody's mostly 15. Mostly 15. I don't see Russia on there. He didn't put no tariffs on Russia. You didn't put no tariffs on Russia. Wait a minute. Tariffs modified. No tariffs on Russia? No, wait. Must be some special undercover tariffs, right? I don't see China. But that's some of the countries with the percentage. Canada, he put a 35% for goods outside. 35%, right? For goods outside. That didn't work. They said the economies with America and Canada intertwined. Do you know that, people? How much do you guys know that? I mean, as people, we need food. America runs on oil and weapons production. So I'm going to ask you, Americans, when this guy from Washington, right? I forgot his name. He was talking, saying that Canada, he's from Washington, right? That America and Canada's economies intertwine. And that's why you had 6 Republicans come together with some Democrats to win over whatever vote was going on in the House. So is that true? American consumers pay the tariffs. Do you know his tariffs are a gift? He gets something for himself and kids, then lowers the tariffs. Let me read that again by Sharon. American consumers pay the tariffs. Do you know his tariffs are a grift? He gets something for himself and then okay, scamming. Scamming, Mr. Trump. And people, please subscribe, like, bring up the likes if you're watching. All you people in the chat, lovely people in the chat. Yeah, so most countries it's 15%, some is 19, Serbia's 35, South Africa's 30, Korea, South Korea's 15. He's soft on South Korea because America and South Korea are friends, right? Syria 41, you don't like them, right? But there's not every country has seen here. There's more. I know there's more. So Donald Trump is doing a lot. He's doing a lot, people. He is doing a lot, but he lost this economic battle as they claim is promoting, but you're saying you could stop it. He said he could veto it. But the point is, 6 Republicans showed their cards that they don't like what Trump is doing. That's the main thing. Even if Trump vetoes it, it's going to look like, he's the bully once again. It's going to look like he's the bully because he's bullying other countries. He's been bullying Canada, saying he's putting tariffs on Canada. But then I'm hearing from even some Americans that the groceries are high, right? High price groceries. And what else? The jobs, some people are losing more work than ever because what Trump is doing. Let me know. Is Trump made America great again, more better again since he came back? Is this what he's calling to make America great again? By attacking other countries, like basically saying, yo, you're going to pay, right? You're going to pay for our shit more or whatever. We're going to put something up, right? Yes, Tether. Yes, AI stars. I think I've seen you before. Star Seed. Yes. Oh, Lee. Mr. Trump is making America great again, making America get punished. That's what he's doing, man. And people, please like, subscribe, bring up the likes. Yep. We're going to have some interviews coming soon, too, right? Coming soon, some down to earth interviews, some new interview podcasts. We're going to be talking about some things like this, right? Some more things like this. But, anyways, right now, he lost. Mr. Trump lost so far. That's how they're putting it out there. He's so busy with the Epstein files. He's so busy with the ICE stuff. I don't know if he's going to be able to, if he's going to try to revoke this shit. Let's see. As someone said, they'll try to revoke it. Let's see. I think Starseed, tried to say some type of vulgar stuff. It ain't coming through. It ain't coming through. But people, please like, bring up the likes. Yo, yep. Donald Trump, man, looks like a fool. Carney has won, right? Carney has won this battle. He's made your own party break off and judge with the Democrats. It's not good. He's too busy. He's too busy. He has his hands full right now. But people, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. He got his hands in a lot of different things, man. Every day there's an episode, right? The world's television, show, Mr. Donald Trump doing all types of stuff. The tariffs, some of you are feeling it. You are feeling it. Maybe not everywhere in America, but some places are feeling it. The guy from Washington basically said, right? He said that they can't do it. This is crazy. 6 people against Trump, 6 Republicans in the House, but he could veto it, as you were saying. I think we should do like China and put our money into infrastructure, better roads, cleaner water, better air, more housing, farming. Okay, you're right. And prepare for the shift. You know what? It would be nice, but you're right. China's doing something. And I want to do a podcast on this soon. China has something called ghost cities where they've been digging up. I'm not saying it's a good thing. It could be bad for the environment for some people, but they've been digging up big forests and making cities, these new cities, because China is one of the most polluted places on earth. I'm just going to say, much respect, but it is one of the most polluted places. It has some of the most polluted places on earth. So they have a lot of old cities. Remember, there's 1 billion people, right? About 1 billion people in China. So they've been making these cities, but no one lives in them. Huge cities, maybe like there's a couple hundred people who live in them. Cities will look like they're American cities. Google this, right? And then come back when I have another episode talking. Google this. China's ghost cities. When you Google it, it'll be a YouTube video. And if you didn't already watch it, it's showing these huge cities modeled like American cities. It's crazy. They redone. It's like they copied American style cities or wherever and made it in, put it in China, knocked down forests, whatever miles or whatever forests, and been digging. But the problem is, it's too expensive for the local, the average Chinese, right? So the people who live in the cities are the cleaners, the custodians. The custodians are the only people who live in the city. So it might be 1,000 custodians, and then the city could fit maybe like a couple million people. You should see it. I'm not even making this shit up. Go look up ghost cities of China. They have a mall there what's like one of the biggest malls in the world. No one is living in the cities. So why do they have these cities? Look, they're buying up property all over the world. I'll be honest. China is doing a takeover. And people, bring up the likes, please. Right? Please subscribe. But we need the trees. We have to sustain places for that, for the animals. I will look it up. Look it up. It's bad too. It's not a good, I'm not saying it's a good thing. They're ripping up the friggin' forest all over in China. China's big still, but they're ripping it up. I know, but a lot of their cities are polluted, like they're old cities, right? So they have new cities too. They have new cities, but yo, they're crazy expanding their real estate. That's why they're in Africa. That's why they're in Australia, in Canada, and America. You got to think of it. Over a billion people in China. There's a big percentage, even if it's 300 million, 400 million people from China all around the world, besides just China. Think of it. A billion in China, at least 400 million are all around the world, different countries. So these cities is maybe for people to come back. I don't know. You could look it up, ghost cities. And that's why for years, correct me if I'm wrong, I've been hearing, I don't know if it's conspiracy, that China owns a lot of property in America. Same thing with some of the Middle Eastern people. I don't know if that's fact that China owns a lot of real estate in America. I know in Canada, for example, they own one of the highways. Forgot which highway it is, but they did own one of the highways, and I think they sold it to a South American company. I'm gonna look that up. That's interesting. I think I don't know if it was even Venezuela. I'm gonna look it up actually. But China owns a highway in Ontario, which is very important. So they own property all around the world, and they're in Africa. China's in Africa, certain parts of Africa, like Russia is doing. So yeah, I sh- people should be kind of like, I could understand why the Republicans can make up or give you this visual of China as a threat, because China is going in all these places. China's in Africa, China's in Australia, in Canada, in America, but then they want to deal with them business wise. You got to think of it. Then you're seeing that, America was dealing with for clean energy. That's one of the main contracts, I guess, America had or has with China. Some renewable clean energy type of stuff, right? So Canada is making a deal with China for clean energy too, for vehicles, and Trump doesn't like that. That's where it starts. The beef. That's part of the beef. Trump doesn't want Canada to have this contract with China. He wants just to have America have a contract with China because we're right next to America. So he's giving you guys the visual. If Canada deals with China, it's a threat to Canada's country, right? But it's really a threat to America in his head, because then China will be enriching Canada. People, please like, subscribe. That's what he's thinking in his head. It's going to enrich Canada. China's going to enrich Canada. That's how he's thinking. So he can't have that. Like I said, it started with the TikTok. It started with the TikTok. Well, maybe even before, but the TikTok is one. China, it was a Chinese owner who owned TikTok, and he bullied and bullied, say he's going to shut it down, played with the American emotion, the ones who love TikTok. And then he said, yo, we're going to ban it if we don't get more control of it. Then what happens? They sell it to a company, or gave some power to a company which Trump is associated with, named Oracle. right? Oracle software. So they have power of it. And if you use it, like I said, and this is emotional to some Americans, if you use it, they know everything about you. That is like you have the ID. You have the digital ID. If you use TikTok in America, that's your digital, you're on the digital ID. That's where I'm gonna give you. I didn't say that last time. If you're using TikTok again, I'm gonna repeat it. That's the digital ID in America. 200 million people out of 300 and something million. 200 million is good enough. 200 million is good enough. How much people dropped out of it? I don't know, but that's the digital ID project. I call it the digital ID project. Canada's thinking of getting rid of it. Canada is actually thinking of getting rid of TikTok. That's allegedly. I'm hearing that. And I could see why. Because now the same thing what America accused China of doing with TikTok as spying on America. Think of it. The same thing Trump was accusing China of using TikTok of doing to spy on America would be the same thing we or Canadians should be thinking America or anybody else in the world. America's using TikTok to spy on the world. You get that? So if America was accusing China of using TikTok to spy on Americans, and now America controls basically TikTok, who's watching everybody? Who's watching everybody? Because that's what they put out there. That's what they've been putting out there. And people, please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. That's what they've been putting out there. So these tariffs, we shall see if it continues, people. Let's see if it actually continues. Because people are saying he could veto. Jimmy was on in here. Jim was in here saying he could stop it. He's gonna veto it. He's gonna stop it. He's just gonna veto it. Right? So when he stops it, if he could stop it, veto it, is it gonna help? He's blaming this whole thing on fentanyl. He's blaming this whole thing on fentanyl, Mr. Trump. You believe that? He's saying because you can't trust Canada because drugs, this fentanyl stuff, is coming through. Their security is weak and we don't trust them. So that's why we're going to put tariffs on because of that shit. Yeah, that's what he's saying. That's the reason he's putting the tariffs on Canada because of drugs. And kind of in a way, they have an argument because they just arrested one of the biggest drug kingpins in the world, and it doesn't look good. He's a Canadian, and now the Olympics is starting. He was a snowboarder, Ryan Wedding, big kingpin with the Sinaloa cartel. He was running with them, hiding for years. Right? He was the big news before they brought up back this whole Epstein stuff. Cash Patel was focusing on this big drug kingpin who they blame for bringing a lot of the drugs into America. This is I'm taking you through a timeline, right? They put him as the most wanted, just out of nowhere. No one knew who this guy was. But all of a sudden, this white Canadian ex snowboarder, right, is one of the biggest drug kingpins in the world, and he's responsible for most of America's problems with drugs. So recent weeks, been seeing pictures of him, whatever, and whatever social media post, and then they making it like they captured him. But he really turned himself in. He turned himself in. But America was putting the pressure out there. This is before all the stuff going on in Minnesota. This is before all of that. The ICE. So they went after this guy. And right now, part of this whole tariff stuff, Trump's talking is that because of the fentanyl problem. So this guy was part of doing it too, the fentanyl. This guy, same Ryan Wedding. Look up Ryan Wedding. Everything I tell you on here is facts, and then you'll come back and please subscribe. Look up Ryan Wedding. If you got a phone or wherever, look up Ryan Wedding, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about. They had a big conference with Cash Patel weeks, if not months ago. to capture this guy. And then they went, guess what? Before that, though, it was Venezuela. You see how it's working? The military was building up for weeks. You're hearing like people weren't paying attention, building up in the Caribbean. Then Venezuela happens. Venezuela, he blames Venezuela for the cartels and the drugs too. Same South America as Ryan Wedding that time. So that's why I believe brought the pressure on Ryan Wedding when America attacked and kidnapped the president. You know what that show was telling you, Ryan Wedding? We could get you too. If we could go all the way to South America and get the president of Venezuela, a country with a military, we're gonna get you. That's why he was worried. He was saying, damn, America really came into South America. He must have shit his pants. Damn, they're here. Before it was a haven for him, right? He turned himself over to the Mexican government, this Canadian drug lord. So this is my point. Trump is using a lot of this stuff with the drugs for the tariff excuse, saying like, yo, it's the fentanyl problem. Trust me, look it up. I just read it about an hour ago. The fentanyl and other shit too. But the main excuse is the drugs. People, please like, and subscribe. Support the platform, the Down to Earth Network, the Down to Earth podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Yep. This is, yeah, Donald Trump's tariffs, right? Gone. Donald Trump's tariffs not working, right? This is reality. People, please like and subscribe. All that good stuff. Like and subscribe. Press the like button if you're viewing. If you like the topic, more topics to come. Guaranteed. It's all in the mix with this whole Epstein shit. That's the distraction. That's why people don't really know about this, what's going on. That Canada, basically, even if you want to say vetoed it, they won. They're making him look stupid. 6 Republicans turned their back on him. 6 Republicans. They turned their back on Trump. Don't look good. 6 Republicans. So what do you guys think of that, people? What do you think about that? About Trump not getting the full support from some Republicans? Don't look good. Doesn't look good, people. Doesn't look good for Trump. He's gonna get more countries. More countries might have the same deal. So he's gonna veto 100 countries. That's what I want to say. No. Patel was saying China makes the precursors to make fentanyl. However, Trump said that it's used in anesthesia. Yeah, so you're blaming China and Canada, basically, because China and Canada are good too. So that's where you got the link too with the whole fentanyl stuff. He's blaming Canada too, right? Look on that what you just said. If he's blaming Canada and Canada's good with China, look at the kind of story he's building. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, Canada and China, they're making drugs. You get what I mean? That's in back of the head conspiracy theory talk, though. You get what I'm saying? Just conspiracy talk. But people, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff, right? Because that's why I could think he's against what's called China and Canada with the relationship. He could paint that picture. I'm just saying, he could just paint that picture. Because if China's doing certain things, what America saying the ingredients is coming from, and Canada is coming through the border, they're gonna just put those two together. Then say, what? Canada, yo, whoever's coming from there is selling something, right? I'm just saying. But people, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. I'm gonna go get a drink. If you want to stay on, you stay on. But I'm getting a drink. Hold on. No one got nothing to say about Trump. Look up something, bro. I could look things up, man. You could tell me what do you think about China and Canada's relationship, because that's what Trump hates right now. He don't like that. He hates that. He's been criticizing it, saying it's like it's illegal. That's how he's talking. He sometimes gives away himself and the American whatever government's moves. Like he's such against it. He just comes out fast. Yo, Canada, you can't do that deal with China. And if you do that deal with China, it's gonna ruin Canada. Right? It's gonna ruin Canada to have electric cars. That's what he's saying. If you have the electric cars, it's gonna ruin it. Yeah, look it up. Look it up, man. He's saying it. Oh, you want to look up the thing with Ryan Wedding? Look that up too, because it's all linked. It's all linked like a story, right? That's why it's kind of funny to me when you see Trump. Every day there's something new, but it's like I expect him to do something. He's gonna be doing something all the time, right? Because he got to create a situation and confusion, right? Ori Solomon, February 2026, Las Vegas. So what's that? What are you talking about? Are you talking about let's see. I can look that up. Either way, these tariffs, anybody wants to dispute it that he's gonna veto it and stop it. Who's it affecting? Who is it really affecting? It's affecting Americans, not affecting Canadians. I'm gonna tell you that 100%. So you have to ask yourself, if you're American, why is he even doing this? Because it's not hurting no Canadians. No Canadians are starving from the tariffs. People are still eating, people are still buying vehicles, spending money and everything, right? So, Mr. Trump, Mr. Trump. So let me look this up, what you're saying. Oh, so, Vegas, let's see what you're saying, man. Judge releases man connected to biolab. Oh, that. Yeah. You want me to really get down to earth about that? Yeah, I heard. No one's really they're talking about it, but no one's really talking about it. Judge releases man? How long ago is this? Connected to biolab found in Las Vegas home? February 6, 2026, a federal judge has ordered the release of Ori Solomon, a property manager connected to a biolab discovered inside a Las Vegas home. Solomon was arrested and charged. Okay. See, that's some shit. You see, that's an example. I'm going to say, even though we're talking about the tariffs, this is like what Trump and all these FBI people should be, unless they just don't want the media, like, kind of like talking too much. But this is a story out there. But it went a little viral, but it's still like going over people's heads, because why is a biolab in a home, right? Ori Solomon was arrested for uh, hazardous waste disposal and firearms violation after police discovered unknown liquids in a refrigerator at the residence. Sounds like almost a murderer, like like a like a murderer, a serial killer. A federal judge has ordered the release of Ori Solomon, the property manager connected to the biolab discovered in Las Vegas home. Solomon was arrested and charged with disposing the hazardous waste and firearms violating after police and the FBI executed a search warrant at the residence and found refrigerator containing vials of unknown liquids. This like a fucking movie. Sorry, this like a movie. Why is it why it matters? The discovery of the alleged bio lab in a residential Las Vegas home raised concerns about the public safety and the potential for hazardous materials. The judge's decision to release Solomon on certain conditions, such as surrendering his passport and restricting his travel, suggests authorities do not believe he poses an immediate flight risk to the community. Okay, but that's it? According to criminal complaint, Ori Solomon was arrested and booked for disposing and discharging hazardous waste, as well as a federal charge for owning 6 firearms and violating the conditions of his visa. The search warrant was executed on January 31st by Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and FBI at East Valley home, where they discovered the refrigerators containing unknown liquids. Yeah, this is the type of story what goes over people's heads. This is the type of story what yeah, like people will bring this up if you don't remember and they call them conspiracy theorists. Yeah, like this guy has a lab, a bio lab, and the judge released him. I'm gonna straight up tell you what that means. This guy worked for the government scene. Some police just discovered probably some lab in some home they never expected, and this guy who's you might say is crazy, was just doing something where he should not really be doing, and someone saw him getting rid of waste. Think of it. They caught him, and the judge released him. Easily release him right back. And they got to put up some conditions all of a sudden. But release him right back and has all these guns, and he's released right back. Who's an idiot nowadays? I'm just saying. I just had to say that. Like he has this place and guns, and he's released. Yo, we ain't all stupid people. This is another story, but still talking about the tariffs. But this is what's going on, right? Going over people's heads. P- People, please like and subscribe. Going over people's heads, man. But yeah, this is a crazy shit because this guy could be a serial killer. Ori Solomon, the property manager connected to the biolab found inside Las Vegas home, who was arrested and charged with hazardous waste disposal and firearms violation. So if he didn't throw out nothing, they wouldn't know about this guy. That's the big point. If this guy didn't go outside and throw things out, they would not know about this guy. He would still have this thing going on. So he made a mistake by, maybe not thinking to cover up what he was doing and threw out some waste, and then that made someone suspicious. Law came, they came to his place and they saw this whole get up. FBI, the federal law enforcement agency that assisted with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department in executing the search warrant at the East Valley home. So they really believe somebody what he had over there or what they saw, right? The federal judge who ordered the release of Ori Solomon under certain conditions, such as surrendering his passport and restricting his travel. That's it? Damn. But anyways, back to Mr. Trump, the king of America, right? Back to Mr. Trump. He has tariffs on all countries, not just one country, people. All countries, not just one country. So each country, I don't know if the Republicans and the Democrats are going to try to do the same thing, but it's going to be another whole type of court thing, if you want to call it, going on. Imagine all this shit going on all at one time, right? So Canada, he's gonna fight it. Someone in the chat said that Canada is gonna fight it. Trump's gonna fight the whole thing with Canada still. He could veto it, even though some Republicans went against Trump with some Democrats in the House vote. Right? So he said he could veto it. So say if he vetoes it, it doesn't look good for him. Right? Really look on it. Republicans turning against him. Then other countries where he had put the same thing on, will the Republicans and Democrats do the same thing? So is he going to veto all, maybe just say, for example, 50? Just say 50 countries he has all the tariffs on. He's going to veto every vote? Maybe he will. I think maybe he will. You got time. He got time, but people, please like, subscribe. I'm thinking he has time. He has time to do a lot. So what else in Trump news? Because he's losing, man. He lost. He lost to Canada. Lost to Canada big time. Right? List of import tariffs by country. In July 2025, the US government introduced new tariff schedule. Imported goods rates start at the baseline 10% and rise as high as 50%, depending on the existing trade relationships. The policy reflects the shift toward more targeted and reciprocal trade measures, with some parts, including Canada, Mexico, the European Union, right, receiving exemptions under existing agreements. The interactive map illustrates how those rates apply worldwide. However, over a country to see its reciprocal tariff rate or click to view the full table. Countries shaded, okay, he has this whole instruction shit, right? Where you could see it all over the world, man. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. Trump doing all types of shit. Historical overview. The barter of goods or services among different peoples is an age old practice, probably as old as human history. International trade, however, refers to to exchange between members of different nations and accounts. An explanation of such trade began despite fragmentary earlier discussion. Only with the rise of the modern nation state of the close at the close of European Middle Ages, as political thinkers and philosophers began to examine the nature of the functions of the nation, trade with other countries became a particular topic in inquiry. It's according to no surprise to find one of the earliest attempts to describe the function of international trade with a highly nationalistic body of thought now known as the mercantilism, whatever the fuck they're putting out here, man. We know what's going on. It's called, the new. It's the stocks, the stock market. It's the stock market. Remember the World Trade Center? The World Trade Center. Remember the World Trade Center representing the two towers coming down? That was the economic downfall. Was representing in America. The World Trade Center. I think tariffs is a fancy word for more taxes. Yes, a fancy word for more taxes. So when he tries to do that, put a tax on all these countries, what do you think is the rebound for America? What do you think is the rebound for America when he tries to do all of that? What's the rebound? It's not going to be good, right? It's an economic war, people. Economic war. But people, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff, right? So it's not a good thing. Now, I'm going to look up the news today. Carney, I want to hear what he had to say on the tariffs that's used by America, because America dropped it, not Trump. That's America. The Republicans and the Democrats, that's a representation of America, not Trump, right? So the U.S. would absolutely not drop all tariffs if Canada did same. This guy named Besant, right? Trump slams Canada as U.S. House passes symbolic vote. Let's hear what he said. I didn't read what he said. This is the new news, right? So it says Trump slams Canada as U.S. passes symbolic vote to end tariffs. The U.S. President Donald Trump called Canada among the worst in the world to deal with as the U.S. House of Representatives voted against the tariffs on the Americans' northern neighbor, a largely symbolic move that shows some wavering Republican support for the president's massive trade agenda. Canada has taken advantage of the United States on trade for many years. They are among the worst in the world to deal with, especially as it relates to our northern border. Trump posted on social media Wednesday night as a result of the vote became clear. Tariffs make make a win for us easy. Republicans must keep it that way. That's Trump. 6 Republicans joined Democrats in a bipartisan push against Trump. Mm. So-called fentanyl emergency at the US Canada border, which the president used as justification for economy wide tariffs against America's northern neighbor. So it's drugs, he's saying. While Wednesday's motion passed, it did not get the 2/3 majority it would need to become veto proof. When it lands on Trump's desk, it's expected to be shut down. Ah, so that's what he's doing. Expect it to be shut down. Shut it down. That's what he wants to do. Canada is also being hammered by separate sector tariffs on the industries like steel, aluminum, automobiles. That's why he's mad about China, right? And lumber that Trump enacted through a different presidential power. The bipartisan support does demonstrate Republican uncertainty around Trump's erratic trade policies directed towards Canada. The Democrat Rep. Gregory Meeks, who introduced the bill, said Canada isn't a threat. Canada is our friend. Canada is our ally, Meeks said. Canadians have fought along Americans. Whew, this is something. Trump declared the emergency in order to use the International Economy Emergency Power Act called IEEPA, a hit Canada with to hit Canada with 35% tariffs. Those duties do not apply to com, goods complaint under the Canada US Mexico Agreement on Trade known as CUSMA. Trump is doing a lot, but his own people are turning against him, right? In response to Trump's stated concerns about fentanyl, Ottawa boosted border security measures with more boots on the ground and drones in the air. Canada police forces have widely promoted drug seizures in news releases. Yes, during debates in the House earlier Wednesday, Brian Mast, a Republican from Florida, pointed to those drug seizures in Canada and Ottawa appointment of fentanyl Caesar. Uh, as evidence, the problem is real. He also said Canada hasn't done enough to crack down on drugs. Damn, saying Canada's big with the drugs. Damn, that don't look good. Democrats Democrats don't recognize that there is a crisis that is killing thousands of Americans. Oh, damn. So they're hitting at the Democrats, saying like the Democrats, you guys are in la la land, right? There's a big drug problem. What Americans are getting affected by, right? From Canada. The Senate has voted repeatedly to overturn the fentanyl duties, but the procedural rule allowed the House to avoid any votes on Trump's tariffs agenda. That ended Tuesday when 3 Republicans joined Democrats to stop the extension of the procedural rule. See, so he's blaming Canada for the drugs. He's saying that drug problem some of the drug problem is coming from Canada. People, please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Right? So that's what he's saying. While the U.S. Constitution reserves power over taxation and tariffs for Congress, Trump's duties have so far faced little public resistance from the Republican lawmakers. Despite concerns shared behind closed doors among traditional GOP free traders, any Republican in the House or the Senate that votes against tariffs will seriously suffer the consequences from election time. And that includes primaries. Trump wrote in a separate Truth Social post. That's what he loves. The Truth Social post Wednesday. The Truth Social post, y'all. Any Republican in the House or Senate that votes against tariffs will seriously suffer consequences. See? The IEEPA has become Trump's favorite tool to impose threatened tariffs, but its future is uncertain. That's the IEEPA. Okay. So the US Supreme Court is still weighing whether Trump can continue using the IEEPA. The consecutive led U.S. Supreme Court appeared skeptical during a hearing on the IEEPA in November. Rep. Adrian Smith, a Republican of Nebraska, said Wednesday voted should be delayed until after America's top court rules on the IEEPA tool. He said Canada is a friend, but Trump's use of duties has pushed Ottawa to have difficult conversations about trade irritants. He cited the examples of the digital service tax, which Prime Minister Mark Carney paused to appease the president last year. Trump's inconsistent use of tariffs and his claims that Canada should become a U.S. state are hurting American businesses. You hear that? Multiple Democrats told the House. Many also pointed to the president's Monday social media post threatening to stall the opening of the Gordie Howe International Bridge connecting to Ontario to Michigan. So they're looking on this man like this guy's out of his head. He is crazy, man. Holy, look at all the stuff he's doing. Yo, let's vote against this crazy man. Now, Rep. Linda Sanchez, a Democrat for California, said claims that Canada's fentanyl threat are not born out of facts. She pointed out to Cosma was negotiating during the first Trump administration and ratified by Congress. Responsible governments follow the law and trade agreements and don't negotiate through weird social media tantrums, she said. You know who that is? Tantrums? That's Trump. It's just reckless and frankly, it's bizarre. Trump post about Canada was the only comment he made Wednesday about the country, which was grieving Tuesday's mass shooting in Tumbler Ridge, BC. Rest in peace to all the people who, you know, died in that bad situation. They killed 8 people and injured 25 others. Other world leaders, as well as the U.S. ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra, have offered condolences to Canada and Tumble Ridge in the wake of the tragedy. Some big tragedy what happened in BC. Some, I'm going to straight say it, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Some person who recognizes themselves as a trans, something they're using that, and killed about, I think, 10 people, about 10 people, 25 people. They got shot, but 10 people, right? So that's not a normal thing in Canada. I'll be honest. That's not a normal thing what happens usually, but it's all over the world. I didn't really talk about it because something like that's dark when you look up the individual. He was a boy or man 18-year-old, and he had some problems, man. So he took people's lives in his own hands. That's what happened. But people, please subscribe. So basically, Trump is blaming Canada for drugs. That's his excuse. He blames Canada for the fentanyl problem in America, and he's not taking back anything. He blames Canada for the fentanyl drugs. What do you think? People like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Support the platform. Support the platform. But yeah, that's what he's saying. That's why the tariffs were on, right? That's why the tariffs were on, because the fentanyl had to be the fentanyl. He's blaming the drugs, people. Big drugs is coming from Canada, and that's why he's punishing Canada with the tariffs. How much people know that? So let's be straight up. That's the excuse Trump is using. Fentanyl, right? The border. He's saying the northern borders got to be secured. Have you heard from Miss Wright yet? Oh, her? You know what? I know how they work. What's her name? Her with her Jay-Z stuff saying about Epstein. Maybe she might tap in. I seen how she works, man. right? I seen all of her supporters trying to come at me on the Instagram and shit like that. So um, it might work. Let's see. And that episode will be interesting. Seeing her talk about the whole Epstein stuff, right? I noticed she doesn't talk about Donald Trump. You know that's funny? I'm just gonna bring it into this episode. I noticed she's talking about all these Epstein files, Miss Jaguar Wright, but she's not bringing up Donald Trump because she knows Donald Trump will come after her. I think anything came from Canada are the big drugs in Canada. So wait, what are you saying? Peter, trust Scotty. I didn't think anything came from Canada. Canada. Are there big drugs? Yes. Oh, see, this is to show you I'm here to educate people, get down to earth. Did you know one of the most, I don't know how I'm going to call it, but drug cities in North America is Vancouver? Like, maybe he's watched that shit. One of the most cities with the most drugs in all North America is in Canada, not even in America. And the place looks scary, right? I could look it up. Vancouver is no sweet place. Like, when you guys think, Americans think of Canada, yes, Canada is a nice country, but everywhere has its problems. And if you think of Vancouver, I'm not saying Vancouver ain't a nice place with mountains and shit, but there's a place, I think, it has a lot of drugs, a big drug problem, man. It looks like Skid Row or some shit. I think they have a place like that in LA, but this one's worse, right? I don't, it's very bad. Meth, everything, streets, filthy. This Canada, right? So let me look up Van. I'm going to give you guys some information because some of you Americans don't know what's really going on in other places. And it's very bad. Vancouver actually has a lot of gangs too. But you would never think like that. Like, oh, it's Canada. Vancouver has a big gang history too. A lot of gangster shit goes on, right? Vancouver's drug problem is complex and multifaceted issue that has garnered significant attention and debate. The city has been at the forefront of addressing the opioid crisis, that's what's big there, which has led to public health emergency in British Columbia. The province has faced a staggering number of drug-related deaths, over 16,000 fatalities since the public health emergency was declared in 2016. That's a lot of motherfucking, sorry to say, oh, it's the first time I said that. That's a lot. I don't even know that fully. I just know that he had a bad problem with drugs. The crisis is exacerbated by the presence of synthetic opioids like fentanyl. And that's what Trump is blaming us for. That's what he's blaming. So look what's going on in Vancouver. He would be scared if you saw probably a video of a place, the places in Vancouver was hit with the drugs. So now I could see there it would be a concern if a lot of Americans are really getting hooked by this fentanyl, right? I could see it. The crisis, so let me see, the synthetic opioids like fentanyl, which have become the leading cause of death for people aged 10 to 59 in the province. Shit, I didn't even know that. 10? You guys didn't know that too, eh? This is not America. This is Vancouver, Canada. No wonder Trump kind of scared. The city's approach to the overdose crisis include innovation strategies such as rapid and ongoing drug toxicity changes, rapid access to safe supply, collaboration with various partners to support the community-based initiatives, and destigmatize the mental health and substance use. However, critics have raised concerns about the effectiveness of the strategies, particularly in the harm reduction approach, and have called for changes the way BC handles mental health and addiction. You know, they have vehicles that drive around and pick people up so they could shoot up. I don't know if you guys have know that in America, but in Canada, especially like in Vancouver, I don't know if they stopped it, but it was going on for years. They would pick people up in these vans and bring them even to some certain place and they shoot up. They probably have that in America too, right? I'm guessing. These strategies, particularly the harm reduction approach, and have called for changes the way of to the way BC handles mental health addiction. The ongoing drug crisis in Vancouver is at a point of political tension with leaders trying to find the best ways to address it. The crisis continues to have a devastating impact on families and communities, right? Yes, it sounds like California. That's what I'm telling you. But people, when you think of Canada, yes, there's nice places, but you think of it as all it's all nice. No, Vancouver is a big city. It's still big. There's islands and stuff, other parts. But there's a big drug problem. Huge, huge drug problem. Would you know about that if you're American? So that's why probably Donald Trump and the American government, maybe they looked on that and that kind of scared them, like saying, shit, if a place in Canada, like in Vancouver, has a big drug problem with the fentanyl, imagine in America, which it is happening, opioid and shit. They have a movie on that shit. I watched a movie about it based on when it was getting popular in America, right? And it's crazy. I watched a movie about it, how it took over, how there's people going around actually promoting that shit, right? Picking addicts up to continue to use drugs is nasty work. Yeah, OG kicks. I think even in Toronto, but people try to stop it. There's these places like these. I don't say if it's a house, but there's actually places they tell people to come to shoot up so it won't be on the streets, or they'll pick you up with a vehicle off the road. People, please like, and subscribe. They'll pick people up off the street because they feel it's more safe for them to be away from the public or something, or to be more cleaner and stuff. So that is going on. Look up Vancouver. Look up Vancouver, right? So for years, America, they probably been blaming Canada for like maybe the lax border. But you have to blame America too. You can't just blame Canada, right? So for years, they've been blaming Canada for like, a lot of drugs going through. And that's why they done that shit in South America with Venezuela. That's one of the reasons they went to Venezuela, as Trump mentioned, because three what he said, 2 to 300,000 Americans die every year because of the cartels. That's what he said. 200 to near 300,000 people die every year because of the cartels, and that's going like Mexico and South America. So then he blames Canada for the fentanyl, and that's part of the excuse for the tariffs. If people don't know that, I don't know who what other content maker has spoken about it, but I'm telling you, he's basically using the excuse that drugs is coming from Canada, right? Drugs is coming from Canada, so that's why we have to put the tariffs on. People, please bring up the likes if you're watching right now. Please subscribe. Bring up the likes. So, yeah, man. Free cocaine and heroin for everyone. Vancouver plan. You hear that? You guys could hear that? I'm gonna read that. I heard that before. Free cocaine and heroin for everyone. Vancouver plan. This is real. Government shit. Free cocaine, meth, heroin for everyone. One city plan to tackle its drug problem. Because in Europe, right, like Amsterdam, most of the drugs is legal. So I'm thinking maybe one day Canada might do that too. Because weed is legal. Weed is already legal. Weed is legalized all over Canada, right? So you cannot go to jail for weed now. You can smoke outside like a cigarette. People, there's so much dispensaries. I can't even tell you. Like it's like nothing. Weed is like nothing. You could grow your own weed up to 4 to 5 plants. You could get a license and grow more weed and stuff like that right now in Canada. So that's the undercover war, probably even with America. Why Trump is talking, because in Canada, weed is legal and free, and in America, it's still illegal in certain places. The laws are not, even though certain places have been legalized, it's still kind of not clear. You still could get locked up for weed. So that's probably why another thing, what will influence Trump to be strict on Canada. The province of British Columbia is the nexus of Canada, drug overdose crisis, and in its fifth year of public health emergency. See that? You guys just don't know. But Some of you might just not know. So it's really bad in Vancouver. That's just one example. A lot of drugs. But what drugs comes with? Organized crime and other shit. As the rate of illicit drugs overdose in Vancouver continues to soar, a group of activists have enlisted the help of the city councilor to hand out free samples of heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine right in front of a police station. You hear that? The province of British Columbia is the nexus of Canada's drug overdose crisis now in its fifth year of public health emergency. Last month, a report from BC Coroner's Service revealed that 160 people had died from an overdose in just a month of May. That was, the other year. So it's crazy. It is crazy down there. But you'll never think of it. And then in Montreal, big organized crime. In Montreal, big organized crime. In Ontario, same shit, right? So they're basically saying what Trump is saying is that Canada doesn't have no control of the drugs going into America. That's what is going on. Canada doesn't have any control. So the tariffs is all because of that. That's the real reason. And now China, because Canada is getting 50,000 cars from China, right? So that's part of the reason too. He doesn't want Canada to have any relationships. Can the cars from China? And he lied. See the fake news he puts out there saying Canada backed down from him when he said, yo, you shouldn't deal with China. That's a big lie. Trump's a liar. I would like to live in Amsterdam. It's all right if you want that cocaine and prostitutes, you don't get locked up. So Trump, when he was telling Canada he shouldn't deal with China, and Canada made a deal to get about some cars, right? Some electric efficient cars, some electrical cars from China. Trump made it look like his threats made Canada back down, but that was a lie, right? Let me read this. Chinese electric vehicles, EVs, are making a significant entry into the Canadian market with new trade agreements allowing for import of up to 49,000 vehicles annually to reduce tariffs. So annually, I thought it was just one time. So this is what's scaring America, people. This is what I'm showing you. 49,000 vehicles annually and reduced tariffs. In the recent shift in the trade policy, Canada has reduced tariffs on Chinese built electric vehicles from 100% to 6.1. This change allows for the import up to 49,000 Chinese EVs each year, significantly increasing the availability of these vehicles in China. Shit. I never really seen the description of it. I thought it was a one time thing, but this is annually. So this will replace, no wonder even people in Canada are crying for their jobs. Because if China is going to import this vehicle, which is a 26 Nissan Kicks, I see the model, Canadian 35,300, that's good. That's good, right? That's pretty good. Look what you're saying, Peter Triscotti, that would take out the organized crime. It would legalize it. Well, the weed in Canada, organized crime lost that. They had to kind of transform in it though. But you see this? The EV cars are 35,300. That's not expensive, right? So they're getting this annually, 49,000 Chinese EVs. So that's going to hurt the American market right now. No wonder Mr. Trump is orange mad. Popular Chinese EV models. BYD Seal, the compact sedan, is direct competitor to established models like Tesla Model 3. This is where it's hitting Elon Musk. Tesla Model 3 featuring an 83 kWh battery and a driving range up to 570 kilometers. It's expected to be one of the popular models among Canadian consumers. Hmm. So Dongfeng Vo Ya Free, a luxurious battery electric SUV that offers impressive specifications, including 107 kWh battery and range up to 700 kilometers. Oh, they're showing the different ones. This is interesting. $32,600. Whoa! American cars are more than that. An average American new vehicle would be like in Canada, a new American vehicle like these would be like at least 80,000. Okay, the cheapest 60. The cheapest American car is gonna cost you, the cheapest a new American car is gonna be 60, and they're saying 32. Damn. But I think I know what this is really about. Control. Still, I have to admit, these vehicles, if it becomes popular, the government could control these cars. They'll all be computerized. That's the big picture. All these vehicles will be computerized. It sounds nice, but most of these vehicles will be computerized coming from China. It's a way probably to monitor where you drive. So some people won't buy these cars in Canada still, even if it's coming every year, right? We'll see the success of these vehicle sales, right? Market impact and consumer choice. The introduction of these Chinese EVs is anticipated to provide Canadian consumers with more choices and potentially lower prices, yes, for electric vehicles. This is particularly important as the demand for affordable and climate conscious vehicles continue to grow. The recent poll indicated that majority of Canadians support lower tariffs on Chinese EVs, reflecting desire more affordable option in the market. Yes, they're going to want this. A lot of people will buy that 32,000. You could get a loan and easily get that vehicle. That's a pay that, even if there's interest on that shit, you can pay that shit off, right? If you're doing a loan or whatever, right? While the entry of the Chinese EVs is seen as a positive development for the consumer choice, there are concerns regarding cybersecurity. That's why TikTok was taken over, kind of, by America, and the potential risk associated with the vehicle from companies linked to the Chinese government. Experts have raised alarms about the implications and the intent connecting vehicles and the potential use of surveillance. That's what America has against this, probably. See, I always see both sides, what you're seeing. But these vehicles probably will be restricted to drive in America. I bet you, if they don't get their way, if Trump doesn't get their way, they will restrict these vehicles from coming to America, guaranteed. Right? Conclusion: the landscape for the Chinese cars, particularly electric vehicles in Canada, is evolving rapidly due to the recent trade agreement and changing market dynamics. As more models become available, consumers can expect a wider range of options, although considerations regarding security and infrastructure readiness remain important factors in the transition. So, this is the future. This is what it is. This is the future for Canada, but I see what they're saying with the surveillance, because if all these vehicles are coming with their technology, they're not using Canadian engineers, I don't think so. They're not using anybody from Canada really to make these vehicles what require technology. So who's going to control the technology? Maybe China, I'm guessing. So that's what America, for example, has concerns about. That you're getting these vehicles, what's going to be like a track, like, a spy device. Like they're looking out for Canada. Like Trump is looking out for Canada. People, please subscribe. Please subscribe. But yeah, this is why the tariffs are going to kind of be still, I guess, if he vetoes it, still on, because he doesn't like that Canada's getting these vehicles from China, doing a deal. Canada eyes joint venture to build Chinese EVs for global export. Wait, I didn't even know that. You see how much shit is going on? This is why Trump is mad. I didn't know that. I thought we're just getting them. Right? Canada eyes venture to build Chinese EVs for global export. Uh-oh. Okay, now I understand. So China's giving them, and then Canada's gonna make them after and export them. Okay, I see where this is going. I see why. Mr. Trump is mad. So China's gonna bring these vehicles for Canadians annually, and then Canada's gonna end up building some of them and selling them. But Canada's government is working to land a Chinese Canadian auto plant that will export electric vehicles globally. Industry Minister Melanie Joly said. She said Canada's auto parts firms such as Magna International Incorporated, Lemar Corp, and Tria International Incorporated have already operations in China and could participate in joint venture assembly plants in Canada. You see that? That's why Trump is angry. All you got to hear is that. That's why he's angry. He's mad. So we believe that these great Canadian champions can partner with Chinese EV companies and make a Canadian Chinese car to export around the world. So there's plans of Canada and China making a vehicle. That's what America doesn't like. That's what America doesn't like. But you got Elon Musk. You got Tesla. You got Elon Musk. You got Tesla. Just saying. You had him. Why aren't you working with him? You took out the contract. Now check this is what Trump does because he's power hungry. Right? He was supposed to have a contract with Elon Musk, Tesla. Elon Musk was in the government. And I don't know what happened, but Elon Musk wasn't satisfied. And Trump even kind of joked about that he's not going to get that deal. So now you lost the deal, right? You lost the deal. And you're mad that Canada now is doing a deal with China for a similar type of vehicle, an energy efficient vehicle. And because they're going to use companies that are already in China from Canada to build vehicles also. That's what it is. Wow, cars and jobs. Yes, no, what's happening though? There's even blowback in Canada. Because this is happening, there's some American plants in Canada what are going to shut down, right? That's what's going on. There's some American plants what are going to shut down, and a couple thousand jobs in Canada. People who are working for those places, they're going to lose their jobs. That's what people are fighting about right now in Canada who work at these places. There's American companies in Canada, like for example, um, just say GMC, right? Whoever makes that, they might be losing their job in Canada because these EVs, Canada's trying to make a new deal with the other country to develop new vehicles, power efficient vehicles. They're not doing it with America, right? And America is not doing it with China. So they don't like that Canada's doing this and is going to benefit with China, right? That's what's going on, people. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Support the platform. So that's what's going on. Trump doesn't like that this is going over his head. But you had Elon Musk. I'm just saying, you had Elon Musk. What happened to Elon Musk? You made him leave. You shouldn't have made him leave. Two big heads, big wealthy men, right? Big. You're all big. He had Tesla. You should have gave him the contract. Gave him the contract. Bring him back. Make the contract. You got the billions of dollars or trillions of dollars from Venezuela now. So hook up Elon Musk. Hook him up with a deal, Trump. And then you don't have to worry about Canada and China with their deal. Get Elon Musk to help you. You got the Tesla, right? Isn't Tesla big? Isn't Elon Musk a genius or whatever? Blah, blah, blah. Link with him. You already hustled TikTok. You got TikTok, right? You're more worried about Canada and China doing this deal. It must really hurt. I have to admit, it must hurt. It's a threat. So China and Canada making a vehicle or even Canada taking vehicles is a threat to America. That's what it is, right? Donald Trump with these tariffs. Donald Trump tariffs dropped. Donald Trump tariffs are dropped. Maybe this is celebrating too early. People are saying that he could veto it. So if he vetoes it, what? What's the benefit now? If he vetoes it, is it helping? So far, I've heard Americans speak on here in the chat, and they told me that the groceries are high. I don't know if that's true. Groceries are high in America, right? Jobs ain't looking too good certain places, right? Uh, it ain't looking too good since Trump even came in. And how long it's been? A year almost, or about a year, right? He's spending a lot of money on ICE, right? He's spending a lot of money on the military because he gave them a raise. They're now in certain parts of South America because they are there in the waters, the Caribbean. So he got them in the Caribbean, so they're nice, right? The military spending a lot of money, but making a lot of trouble. Making a lot of trouble. And with this Epstein thing, it's like all over the place. The Epstein thing is 100% as much as people want to see people go get prosecuted or who's in the Epstein files. It's a big distraction for what else he's doing in the world. You know what they're planning to do? What they're planning to do? The next thing, what Trump wants to do? Don't be surprised you hear soon attack in Iran. Don't be surprised you hear some type of attack, a new bombing, a big bombing in Iran. That's the next thing what's cooking up. That's why all this Epstein stuff is a big distraction. Guaranteed that's what's cooking up. The military been hearing is getting closer to Iran and stuff like that. And that's the same thing we heard when they went to Venezuela. That's the same thing I heard when they went to Venezuela, people. The military was coming into the Caribbean. Didn't you hear that? You've been hearing that way before that attack. Same thing with the Middle East. Been hearing, they're piling up the military. So next, they already did attack them. Remember, they attacked them already. What am I saying? America already attacked Iran. They're just gonna attack again. It sounds really bad, but yeah, this is the leader, man. This is America. 6 Republicans revolt against Donald Trump in the House, right? Washington needs Canada. That's what the guy said out of Washington. Washington needs Canada. You hear that, people? Needs Canada. Washington. It can't do without Canada. Intertwined. The economies are intertwined. So Americans, don't be fooled by social media and what Trump is telling you. Go do your research. Canada and America need each other as much as Trump is saying that America doesn't need Canada. Yes, you do. Right? Yes, you do. Stop all the lying to the American people. Yes, you do. Trump, you need Canada. Canada needs America. Canada and America is like this, really one. It's really one. They're fighting for power. He's fighting for power. He's fighting for power because in America there's a revolution happening. He's causing this shit. People want to overthrow him probably. If they could overthrow Trump, they would overthrow Trump, some people. If they could. They would overthrow him and take him out. Look, they tried to assassinate him, what, 2 times? Look at that. They tried to assassinate the man 2 times. Right? And he's always talking. He's always talking. 100% character. Donald Trump, 100% big character. But they lost. Guarantee if he could veto, he will veto. He's going to veto this stuff. Because he's power hungry. Right? He's going to veto. People, please bring up the likes, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Right? So, man, Imagine being in America right now and this guy's in charge. In charge. He must be scaring a lot. He's scaring a lot of people. He's in charge of the red button. The red button, right? Saying he'll go anywhere in the world. This man's just jealous, man. Jealous. Donald Trump. But people, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Right? Down to Earth Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Down to Earth Network on Spotify. Check it out. But yeah, how much of you really believe these tariffs were affecting Canada besides America? Didn't work. It's not working, Mr. Donald. But he's gonna throw a fit and he's gonna veto it. Guarantee he's gonna try to veto it. He doesn't like that 6 Republicans turned their backs on him. Right? Tariffs dropped. Right? Everything, all the stories are really going over this. He likes this because he lost. Right? Tariffs dropped. The U.S. House of Representatives has voted to overturn the President Trump's tariffs on Canada goods, a move that reflects a significant shift in political landscape regarding trade policies. So that happened today, or Wednesday, I mean. That happened Wednesday, right? So Canada's average tariff rate with the U.S. remains higher than it was last year. A lot of stuff. This guy, you guys probably can't wait till he's finished being a president. If he's making a lot of things bad. he, this guy's a joke, man. But people, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. It's the Down to Earth Network with your host, Sean Myrie. Yeah, so look it up. I encourage people, do your research, look it up. Don't make them just tell you anything, bills they're passing, and what's going on. Trump slams Canada, U.S. House passes symbolic vote to end the tariffs. House votes to rescind Trump's Canada tariffs. So all of this is just from Wednesday. It's Friday coming. The week is winding down right now. So it's people are just taking this in, right? Taking this in because it was big news. You remember, he's the big bad bully saying he's going to put tariffs on every single country. He's going to put tariffs on Canada, and Canada is going to basically suffer if they don't listen to him. What the hell does he want? Listen for what? Because that's what he said about, like, Canada shouldn't be doing no deals with China. Well, I guarantee you America is doing deals with China. America deals. He wants to deal oil deals. America deals with China. So, yes, I remember this. Opinion for the U.S. to compete, it will need work with China. But I remember he blamed China for the virus. That's why he said some bad things. He called it the China virus. You remember that? That's why China had bad relations with Trump. His first, time as the president. That's what I looked up before, right? So, fact sheet. President Donald Trump strikes deal. That was November 1st. So, this is all before all the craziness was happening. Or maybe not. The fact sheet, Donald Trump strikes a deal, economic trade relations with China, right? Rebalancing trade with China this week in the Republic of Korea, President Donald Trump reached a trade and economic deal with President Xi Jinping of China, a massive victory that safeguards U.S. economic strength and national security while putting American workers, farmers, and families first. And this is what some people are saying is not really going through, it's hurting the Americans, actually. The historic agreement includes Chinese commitments to halt the flow of precursors used to make fentanyl in the United States. Okay. To halt the flow of precursors used to make fentanyl in the United States. This is all coming down to drugs. Effectively eliminate Chinese current and proposed export controls on rare earth. What does that mean? Elements and other critical minerals. End Chinese retaliation against U.S. semiconductor manufacturers and other major U.S. companies. Open Chinese markets to U.S. soybean and other agricultural exports. So they want to sell, America wants to sell their agricultural soybeans and stuff to China, but China doesn't want that. China doesn't want anything from America in that regards, right? Chinese actions. China will suspend the global implementation of expensive new export controls rare earth related to measures that it announced October 9th, 2025. So this is what's going on, and no one's really talking about it. China will issue general license valid for exports for rare earth gallium, germanium, antimony, I'm trying to say these, antimony, and graphite for the benefits of the U.S. end users and suppliers around the world. The general license means the de facto removal of controls China imposed since 2023. China will take significant measures to end the flow of fentanyl to the United States. Specifically, China will stop the shipment of certain designated chemicals to North America and strictly control exports of certain other chemicals to all destinations in the world. So there's some type of chemicals they're blaming China for this, the fentanyl stuff, the making of it. China will suspend all the retaliatory tariffs announced that was announced since March 4th, 2005, includes tariffs on vast swaths of US agricultural products, chickens, wheat, corn, cotton, sorghum, soybeans, pork, beef, aquatic products, fruits, vegetables, and dairy products from America. You see, there's some shit what is going on we don't know. China's getting stuff from America too. China will suspend or remove all the retaliatory non-tariff countermeasures taken against the United States since March 4th, 2025, including Chinese listings of certain American companies on its end user and unreliable entities list. China will purchase at least 12 million metric tons of MMT of the U.S. soybean during the last 2 months of the 2025 and also purchase at least 25 MMT of U.S. soybean in each of 2026, 2027, 2028. Additionally, China will resume purchases of the U.S. sorghum and hardwood and softwood logs. You see what they're getting? You see the deals, what's really working? People, please like, subscribe. Bring up the likes, people. Support the platform. But you see what's going on? Hardwood and soft logs. So China's getting all of this shit from America. As much as they talk bad about China, Mr. Trump, China will take appropriate measures to ensure the resumption of trade from Nexperia's facilities in China, following production of critical legacy chips to flow to f- to flow the rest of the world. What the hell's that? Allowing production of critical legacy chips to flow to the rest of the world. China will remove measures it took in retaliation for the U.S. announcement of Section 304 investigation on China's targeting the maritime logistics and shipbuilding sectors for dominance to remove sanctions to impose various shipment entities. China will further extend the expiration of its market based off tariff exclusion process for imports from the United States. Exclusions will remain valid until December 31st, 2026, China will terminate various investigations targeting U.S. companies in the semiconductor supply chain, including its antitrust, anti-monopoly, and anti-dumping investigations. So America and China have some shit going on. You read that, they have some type of, it's like a war. It's an economic war. Like they're getting stuff from America, and at the same time, they're being investigated for certain things, probably from America. American actions. The United States will lower the tariffs on Chinese imports, and that's why they're against Canada. This is one reason because Canada's dealing with China, right? They have business with China and they feel no one else should have business with them because of all of this shit I just read you. The United States will lower the tariffs on Chinese imports imposed to curb the fentanyl flows by removing 10% points of the cumulative rate effective November 10th, 2025. It's not too long ago. And will remain its suspension of the heightened reciprocal tariffs on Chinese imports until November 10th, 2026. The currency's 10% reciprocal tariffs will remain in effect during the suspension period. So this is all about drugs. This is all about the drugs, people. Let me tell you, this is all about the drugs. Canada, I read you that. He said he's putting tariffs on Canada because of the fentanyl. And then now he's talking, basically they're saying the fentanyl problem is coming from China. This is the real deal. It's all drugs. You notice this? Even with Venezuela, it's all drugs. As much as people want to talk about these other things, it's all drugs. The United States will further extend its expiration date of certain Section 301 tariffs exclusion currently due to the expire on November 29th, 2025 until November 10th, 2026. The United States will suspend for 1 year the starting of November 10th, 2025. The implementation that was passed, right? The implementation of the interim financial rule title expansion of end of user controls. See how this fucking way how they pronounce the shit, right? Sorry, dude. The affiliate of certain listed entities. Just had to curse. They try to make you not understand this, but I understand this. The United States will suspend for 1 year. Okay, so what else they're saying? This all type of minerals, all types of resources, all shit what America needs and China needs. That's why trade is important. It's stuff what America needs as much as China needs. So people ain't telling you this unless you do your research. All the stuff I just went through is what China needs, like soya beans, and they need agriculture and other things, and America needs things from China. In Malaysia, President Trump signed an agreement on reciprocal trade with Malaysia, and Cambodia and the United States announced joint frameworks to trade negotiations with Thailand and Vietnam. He also signed critical minerals cooperation agreements with Thailand and Malaysia. Minerals, you see? In Japan, President Trump announced major projects advancing Japan's previous 550 billion investment commitment to the United States to further revitalize the U.S. industrial base, signed a landmark critical minerals agreement with Japan to secure historical purchases of the U.S. energy from Japan and deepen U.S. Japan cooperation to combat illegal drug trafficking. See the pattern? To combat illegal drug trafficking. Drugs is all mixed up with minerals and all this stuff. In the Republic of Korea, the president secured billions in a landmark commitments, including investments to support American jobs. Further, Americans' energy dominance promote American leadership in the technology revolution to build the U.S. Korea Maritime Partnership. What does that mean? A lot of Americans don't know where their money's going unless you do your research. I just broke that down to you, right? I don't know if you understand it, but this is what I understand. They be doing business a lot with China still. As much as Trump wants to talk all this shit, They're doing business for minerals. They're doing vice versa. China's getting soya beans and getting all types of stuff from America. America's giving a lot of goods to China as much as China's giving goods to America. So he's mad that Canada is dealing with China. Canada has been dealing with China for a long time. So he feels, Mr. Trump, only America should be dealing with China. Canada should not. That's what it seems like. He doesn't want Canada to have a relationship with China. Only him, right? For America, to make America great again. But like I said, Carney's smart. Mark Carney's an intelligent guy, right? And he's laughing. Mark Carney's not going anywhere, right? Mark Carney's not going anywhere. And people, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. He's not going anywhere, Mark Carney. But yeah, the winner of this whole thing so far, even if he vetoes it, is Mark Carney. The winner, right? The winner. Just won. Yep. Trump lost. But people, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff to the Down to Earth Network, the Down to Earth Podcast on Spotify Podcasts, right? On Apple Podcasts, Down to Earth Network, Spotify, Down to Earth Network. Please support the platform, the network. Yeah, this episode, yep. Donald Trump, tariffs dropped. I'm out.